I want to tell you a little story. It's about this guy, Ed Miliband, who in 2015 was the leader of the Labour Party trying to win the general election against the Conservatives. This was Miliband's first election as Labour leader. A few years earlier, in a contest full of family drama, he'd won the position by beating his own older brother, David Miliband. I actually know something about this because I worked on an absolutely brilliant television satire all about this called Miliband Brothers.
What the hell are you doing here?
I'm doing the lunchtime news interview.
Anyway, when David lost the contest, he refused to serve in Ed Miliband's cabinet, then resigned as an MP, and then moved to the United States. Yeah, he didn't exactly take it well. But now, back in 2015, all that seems behind Ed Miliband, and the election seems to be going okay. Until
the Defence Secretary Michael Fallon accused the Labour leader of weakness. Having stabbed his brother in the back, Fallon said Miliband was now willing to stab the UK in the back.
Although now this seems kind of ridiculous, at the time all this talk of backstabbing his brother was very shocking, and the Tories got a lot of criticism for it. So why did they do it? The answer was soon revealed in an old article from Boris Johnson, talking about the election strategist in charge of the attack, his Australian friend, Lyndon Crosby.
Let us suppose you're losing an argument, Johnson wrote. Your best bet in these circumstances is to, quote, throw a dead cat on the table, mate. The key point, says my Australian friend, is that everyone will shout, geez, mate, there's a dead cat on the table. In other words, they'll be talking about the dead cat, the thing you want them to talk about, and they won't be talking about the issue that's been causing you so much grief.
Miliband would go on to lose the election, all down to, as The Guardian put it, Lyndon Crosby and a dead cat. And thus, the dead cat strategy, a way of manipulating our attention, became famous. But there's a problem.
I think it's incredibly annoying.
This is Sam Freedman, who writes about politics at this Substack. And that's his dad, Lawrence, who, amongst other things, writes the Substack with him.
Every time an issue that people want to talk about gets knocked off the news by a different issue, they say that different issue is a dead cat.
And it's started to become a bit ridiculous. The Prime Minister wants to bring in compulsory maths up to the age of 18. Dead cat strategy. The government wants to deport asylum seekers to be processed in Rwanda. Dead cat strategy. The leak of a minister's WhatsApps. A senior Tory being right-wing. Well, that one at least had a cool poster. Tightening lockdown restrictions. All dead cats. And knighthood is a distraction from asylum policy, which in turn is a distraction from WhatsApp leaks, which in turn is a distraction from Brexit, and so on in an endless sequence. There's lots of problems with this particular idea, not least it credits the government with a sophistication they sadly lack. But actually I see this focus on the idea we're always being distracted and manipulated as part of a bigger obsession. Obsession with the power of
Mainstream media,
news media,
the corporate media,
the fake news media.
All this influence over the content and news that we watch, read, consume.
Critiquing the media is everywhere. From politicians to thinkers and writers, the right talking about liberal media elites and left-wing comedians, and the left talking about Rupert Murdoch and Fox News. The danger of it all is it can lead to what I call the bad information fallacy. The idea that if voters have bad views, it's because they're getting bad information. In some ways, this kind of makes sense. After all, with a question of science, we expect as people get more information, they will absorb it, and people's views on the question will converge to a single truthful answer. But when it comes to politics, even though there's more information than ever before, people come to wildly different views. Why is this? For some, the explanation is simple. People form their views based on the information they absorb, so as long as the information is good, the views will be good as well. But with the media, you have bad information. This bad information is absorbed, and the outcome is bad views. Garbage in, garbage out. But of course, this model is too simplistic. The quickest proof is to think about your own views. Sure, the media influences you, but you probably don't think of yourself as merely transmitting what you've seen and heard. The truth is, our political views have deep origins. In fact, there's a whole literature exploring the influence of psychology, moral intuitions, and even genetics on how we see politics. These influences shape how we perceive the information in the media, seeking out the points we like, rejecting those we don't, and generally distorting and processing what we hear and see.
But people just assume that their values are the right ones. If you apply your values and then you apply reason on top of those values, you will always get to the right answer. But of course, if you start from a different set of values, you can apply the same set of facts and you'll reach a different answer.
I have to admit a personal bias here. I used to be the producer on Question Time, the politics debate show. And while I was working there, the show would constantly get criticism for how many appearances there would be of Nigel Farage, the anti-EU and anti-immigration politician. There were tweets, news stories, even a website. And my frustration was, it seems some of those people felt immigration only existed as an issue because of Nigel Farage. Yet working on the show and seeing all the piles of questions that came from the audience, I knew this was something they genuinely cared about. And those kinds of stories and that dynamic is still going on.
The first flight taking asylum seekers from the UK to Rwanda under a new government scheme is due to take off later today.
That's a huge and to me very concerning policy. But when it was first announced, everyone started shouting, "Dead cat, dead cat." And I was pointing out, no, this is a real policy. They actually want to do this.
And the government is pursuing that policy because there are voters that support them. And if you want to change how those voters think, well, dismissing them isn't going to help.
The danger with obsessing about this is that it means that people try and avoid engaging with the real arguments that the other side have. If you want to make the case for immigration, as I would like to, you have to be able to come up with good arguments for why, rather than just saying, no, you're idiots, you've been brainwashed.
Now, to be clear, I'm not saying media doesn't affect politics and that politicians don't try and manipulate the media. And so obviously there's a place for criticising and critiquing it. And the media should be part of politics. Debate and persuasion is a key part of democracy. But the problem comes when criticising the media itself becomes a kind of distraction. A way of ignoring what people think instead of trying to change what people think. A way of dismissing people instead of persuading them. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, I recommend checking out this other video all about the fears around phone addiction and the long history of panicking about new media.